Hey everybody, this is Patrick. This video is for Mobile Player Experience Week 3 of the August 2013 class. So this week we took a look at mobile heuristics and multiplayer heuristics within the two mobile games that we decided to review. So my first one is for Tetris Blitz. And the only thing I found really within the game mobility heuristics that I saw as something that could be enhanced was the game and play sessions can be started and stopped quickly. So it was really the load time of the game. If you wanted to jump into it really quickly and start playing, you actually cycle through 3 different pages. First, this pops up. That sits there for a few seconds. Then this pops up, which is a disclaimer. All rights reserved. I think they're pointing to Tetris as something that they need to obviously address, that this is not their own concept or idea. Then you have another loading screen that pops up. So you're waiting for this game to actually load, and not only are you just waiting, but you're cycling through these different pages, which, to be honest, it's a little annoying. So it's not an end-all be-all, but I did find it as something that really they could look back into and potentially make ultimately better by just either lowering the overall number of slides, maybe just to 2, or trying to figure out how to actually speed that up. Then within the multiplayer heuristics, there are definitely some recommendations for Tetris Blitz. There is no real game support for communication. The only real communication is when you are trying to, well, you basically see a leaderboard and potentially your friends that are also part of this leaderboard. And really, I feel that this is more of a promotional aspect for the game than anything else. It's not really about communication, but rather, hey, jump in here and play. And the communication is simply the high score. That's all it is. So maybe to add an additional level of engagement with the user in that communication, I think there could be some kind of chat feature, because all you do is push remind, it hits a reminder to their Facebook wall, and then they jump in and start playing, but there's no interaction at all among the users within the game. So I would say that definitely is something that could be worked on. There are reasons to communicate. Well, if you have a leaderboard and if you have this competition, I think there is a reason to potentially communicate. But once again, there isn't. So leaning back to that chat feature in general, I think would help. And really the last one even plays right back to that. The game supports groups or communities. Building a community by creating a universal chat feature could raise the integration within the game. The game that I think of is Words with Friends. It has that ability to communicate with people inside or outside of the game and get them interacting. Maybe it's just simple as, hey, you want to play this game against each other at 5 o'clock tonight or something like that. But I think the interaction among the multiplayer kind of experience within this game is pretty lacking, and it could be overall improved. So that was a total heuristic score of 5 for the the multiplayer side of things for Tetris Blitz. The other game is Fun Run again, and starting with the game mobility heuristics, I actually didn't put anything. I thought their game mobility was actually pretty on point. And maybe even going through and just kind of mentioning how it was on point. The game and play sessions can be started and stopped quickly, very quickly. You can jump right into the game, play a new game, you can pause a game, start up again, even within the multiplayer, which is interesting if you ask me. You can pause the multiplayer, press play, and you're still within the same spot against the multiplayer. It's a little bit weird. I would have expected if it's multiplayer real time that they would be way ahead, but maybe the game tracks where each person's jump was and everything, so that you never fall behind, but you can jump right in and jump right out. The game conforms to device settings and surroundings. You do need the internet to be able to do the multiplayer, but it does warn you if you don't have it. And ultimately, I think that's the biggest thing. The game handles interruptions, calls, text when paused. I actually tested this, and it does. You call, it'll pause the game. If you pick up, or if you actually just decline the call, jump right back in. Whatever it might be, you always jump right back into the game after you're done. The game, it actually doesn't jump right back in. It does actually go back to where then you have to push kind of play to go back. The game contrast accounts for the screen glare. I mean, absolutely. The colors are very vibrant. Here's just an example. But there's no issue in seeing anything within the screen. So I really thought the game mobility was great. I didn't have anything to say bad about it or any improvements. When it comes to the multiplayer, there was a few things. So the game supports communication. The game doesn't support any communication really at all. It does offer multiplayer and the ability to play against other people, but the communication amongst them is almost nothing. So when you actually want to play against other people, you come into this almost like forum that automatically selects who you're going to play against, and there's no way to communicate against these people. And maybe it would be kind of cool to be able to kind of trash talk and say something and, you know, tell them in some kind of way that, you know, you're going to beat them or whatever. So you could somehow add something into the game, whether it be a chat feature in the beginning or maybe after the game, maybe after that level is over and you've just competed and you won first place, you can kind of brag against them. But I do think you could add some kind of communication support. There's reason to communicate, and I kind of just went over that too. When you're at the end of the level and there is essentially, you want to say, bragging rights, you know, first, second, third. So you could have a communication there. Also, a communication within the same thing as the other. You know, you guys want to play later on, you just talk to your friends through it. It's about the game that you're talking, so maybe actually having that communication through the game. Yeah, you have text, yeah, you have some other messaging systems within your own mobile device, but maybe actually creating it for the purpose of the game might enhance it a little bit. The game helps players to find other players. Actually just showed this, and it's not really the easiest. What you have to do is you have to click up here to add a player. Then it comes to this screen, and you have to know their username. There's no way to link it to Facebook. There's no way to link it to some other kind of, maybe like an email address that you can search to find those people. It's very hard. You have to know it specifically. And even my username, and I randomly just set it up, is PatPowers37625. I don't really know where that number came from. I don't know anything as to that. I have to now memorize that and hand that out to people if I want them to add me to their games as friends. So I do think that's lacking. I think you can definitely improve that and connecting it to some kind of database to drive from. So within the multiplayer heuristics, I think this game is it's actually very centered around multiplayer. That's one of the big things that they really try to sell to you, but when it comes to the true multiplayer experience, I think it's kind of lacking. I think there can be more engagement among the players within the game, outside the game, getting ready for the game, trying to get a group of people to actually play together rather than being random all the time. So I think there could be some areas of improvement for it overall. That is it. So that is the overall heuristics for Tetris Bliss and Fun Run. And thank you so much.